Good afternoon. My name is Barb Badger. I'm a 10-year survivor of residential schools. I was at St. Michael's in Duck Lake from 1955 to 65. And,
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Barb Badger, and I'm originally from Monaro, but grew up in Beardy most of my life, and now married into Stawasis. And I attended St. Michael's student residence in Duck Lake. I was only not even there a year, maybe, when I was about 6, 7 years old. I'm not sure of the year offhand.
Thank you for introducing yourself. So one of the key themes that we're curious about this year is what does the Rock for Reconciliation event, the annual event that we host every year, what does it mean to you? Why is it important?
It means a lot to us because it's a place to meet other people and other residential school survivors. But it's also a place where not many people that I've ever heard about these residential schools have had an opportunity to talk to them and kind of explain what they're all about. When they became to play, like St. Michael's coming to play in 1894. My grandmother was one of the very first 10 students that was in there. So it gives me an opportunity to talk about the residential schools when we gather like this.
Good, thank you. Did you want to share any?
Yeah, myself, like Frank said, it's an opportunity for us to meet with some of our old classmates, some of our people that we went to residential school with, but it's also a healing initiative for us, and because a lot of what happened back in those days, a lot of it is coming out now, and more so. I think we were up to that point in our lives that we thought we had dealt with a lot of the issues regarding residential schools, and these last couple of weeks, the triggers and everything that came to the forefront after they found the 215 graves in Kamloops really reopened up a lot of hurt and pain, and like I said, I thought I was already getting to the point where I was beginning my healing, and I still have a long ways to go. And having these walks and having the get-togethers that we do, I think is very important, because it not only helps us do our healing, but it also educates people in general out there that what happened to us, and it's real, it's reality. It's not just something that in today's history books you don't even hear about it. And some of the places I've been, in terms of what they teach in school, is they don't teach that in school. They teach things that are not even a bare minimum. And having a walk like this on an annual basis is something that's really needed, and I think it's something I can see happening forward, and hopefully it'll be a more positive outcome, and it's something that we're gonna probably talk for the rest of our lives, and the generations that to come, they'll be able to share our history, and it is part of history. Thank you.
Right on, thank you.
Anything else you'd like to say?
Anything at all?
Well, like my wife was talking about, it's a healing process, and it's been a long road. When I left residential school in 65, I was already an alcoholic, and I drank for about 20 years afterward. When I decided to sober up, I sobered up because I had kids, and because of my kids and my wife, I sobered up. And this year, 41 years since I've been sober. And it's helped me a lot. It's helped me be more honest to talk about the residential school issues and what happened to me in residential school in 10 years. And I like talking to people about residential schools. Like when I went to Kitchener, Ontario, I went and did a presentation over there on residential schools, and this is where the lady approached me, and she said, said, residential schools, when was the last one closed? She asked me. It's in 1996. That's when I worked in anyway. I mean, just this past April. I said, yeah. She said, my daughter's in grade 6. And the teacher is telling her that residential schools happened 300 or 400 years ago. You guys aren't even here yet, I told her. You know, I mean, so, you know, she had a better understanding. You know, she said, well, I'm going to have a talk with that teacher because what they're learning, she said, is not true. I said, no, it's not. I said, so I give her a little brief history on our school and my grandmother being the very first student there and all that. I told her when it burned down and when they rebuilt and how it exchanged hands from the government to bad control for beauty and one arrow and you know, I just kind of felt, you know, all that. So she was quite surprised. But I just talked about we talked about some of the disciplines. For example, when I was 6 years old, I was one of the smallest students there. And I was hit with a logging chain by one of the supervisors. And it left cuts on my back that had blood, droplets of blood coming out of the chain and my back. And that was my first form of discipline at St. Michael's. And there was many more to follow. During the 10 years I was there. And yesterday, or was the day before, when Tribal Chief Mark Arcan organized that walk around the city. And I was really humbled by that. It made me feel good. But within the whole process, it also made me feel important that I was one of those survivors that he was walking for. And this kind of helped me a bit with the healing process. Because like I said, it made me feel important, it made me feel good. And it made me feel especially good to know that there are people out there that are concerned about who we are and what we went through. And Tribal Chief Mark Arcan is one of those people, but also being on TV, on the news, on TV, that in itself, I would say, how do I say that? Really exposed, I guess, the residential school issue. Because I've heard people say, you know, it happened how long ago? I said, well, yeah. He said, you know, give it a rest, let it go. And the reality of all that is that any of these people have been through that. They'd be the same boat I was. They want people to know what happened to us as Native people. As kids, 6-year-old kid, that high, walking into that residential school and being called a savage. What did I do at 6 years old to be a savage? Being called a pagan and a heathen. You know, what did I do? It's like, I prayed at home, my grandparents prayed out in the pagan. There was a God, but still, they insisted that I was a savage, a pagan, and a heathen. And basically throughout the 10 years that I was there, we were always degraded, cut down. And the most unfortunate thing about that, when I got hit with the logging chain, it was one of our own people. A lot of the supervisors that were there were our own people. And a lot of them wouldn't permit us to talk our language. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, when I was in me, he said, "Hey Frank, what's that to you?" Wow, I was happy he thought he spoke to me Cree. And I said, "Muna Tagewaga." Bang, give me a backhand right across the mouth. Give me some lips. He said, "You don't talk Cree," but I said, "You spoke to me in Cree." Doesn't matter, he said, "You don't speak Cree." You know, and that's just the way some of these things were back then. You know, when I talked to other survivors, we called them the harders. Because we were strapped, slapped, punched, and, you know, whatever weapons they had. Be it a long chain, a 2x4, a rope stick, whatever they were going to use on horses. Straps, everything, whatever they had. You know, sometimes they just kicked us. I know one of the teachers, grade 5 teacher, had on a pair of army boots. And he used to, if we were out of line, he'd come and kick us. Right in the shin, just below the knee. And oh, God, that hurts. That was very, very painful. And, you know, and in situations like that, a lot of people don't realize we went through. You know, we were not they were not considered humans, I guess. We were considered savages to be civilized, to be educated, to white man's way and whatnot. So in order to do that, they didn't allow us to talk. They didn't allow us to practice our culture. But to be honest with you, I did lose my culture in there. But fortunately, not my language. I can still speak my language quite fluently today, but not as good as I did when I was 5 years old. 5 years old, I was a fluent Cree speaker. Because that's all we spoke in our house with my grandparents. And then when I went to residential school, I lost some of that. But my culture I just lost. I didn't know the difference between a powwow and a round dance. You know? When I got out in 65, they had no powwows whatsoever until 71, 72, when they had the first powwow. And I was at the powwow. I was drunk right through the whole 3 days of the powwow because I didn't know that you had to have a certain respect for the cultural activities that any people practiced. And that's how I lost all my cultural knowledge, whatever, you know, how I lost my culture. So I know my grandfather used to go out in the bush with a few of his friends, and they'd go and sing powwow songs, round dance songs sometimes. They couldn't sing them on the reserve because the Indian agent wouldn't allow it. Because, you know, I was born in 49, so that was late 49, early 50s, that this was all happening. I remember going to the Indian agent for rations, me and my mom. You know, things like that happened. But the ultimate punishment of it is what we wanted is simply the residential school. Because they threatened my mom if you don't let her go there. That's what she would do. So she really had no choice but to let me. So I spent the next 10 years. 1 year, 2 years. In May of 1 year, I went to Leask. The following September, I went to as far as December. And I couldn't handle the white kids. I just couldn't live up to their expectations or their way of life. I always felt inferior to them, so next best thing was go back to residential school. And I put myself back in there. And I've done my grade 8 and my grade 9 there. So in total, I did for 10 years. So, you know, it was a bad experience, the worst experience of my life. And I always promised myself, every time I got hit, strapped, slapped, or punched, if I ever have kids, they'll never go through this. And I lived up to that expectation. You know, while my kids were alive, I never, ever laid a hand on my kids. it's a lot of time I've been on them. As a matter of fact, when they all died, I used you for them because we knew our kids better than we did. And the very first thing that come out of my mouth was, I have no regrets for the way I raised my kids. Because I raised my kids with love, honesty, respect, and a good value system. We raised our kids good. So, you know, for me to switch everything around from residential school to the way I love my kids was changing my life. A change I never regret. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.